So this is a study looking at FE teachers and particularly those who work in vocational workshop settings. And although these teachers form a large part of vocational education in England, very often they seem to have quite a low profile in what's deemed a low profile setting. And as such, they're not very often mentioned in research. So I think the first thing that we're trying to do is to listen to a group whose voice isn't heard very often.
Well, we are, but of course we're also placing it in an international context of changes to teacher education, but also changes to employment. All those things form an important background. But it is important, particularly in England, where these teachers are seen as an ideal type. They're people who've got one foot in industry and they've got one foot in the teaching profession. I think that's part of why these are so important.
And I think that you're quite right that these teachers do really fit that model of a dual professional, and I think that's because they're so close to industry expectation and industry practices. I do also think that one of the things that really differentiates vocational teachers is the fact that they do, once teaching, remain very close to their former areas of employment. One of the things that really struck me when we were collecting the data for this research was how very often vocational teachers see themselves as gatekeepers to the particular industry that they've come from. In that not only are they looking for the right learners with the right skills, but possibly more importantly, with the right attitudes to secure employment in a particular sector.
Well, that's right. But at the same time, those teachers themselves are in a position where they're finding it increasingly hard to secure regular professional roles in the sector. We trace in this article, don't we, the way that there's been a struggle over a century for permanent institutions for professional teachers. And in the present environment, where the sector's becoming more diverse, there's more emphasis on workplace learning, it's more difficult, and of course with deregulation, it's becoming more difficult for teachers to make that transition.
So that's the point of talking about morphogenesis. We very often present professional development as a task for the individual, and as a teacher educator, I certainly agree with that.
Well, it is, but on the other hand, it takes place within given circumstances, and I think that's the point Margaret Archer's making about morphogenesis and morphostasis. It happens within pre-existing circumstances. And at the moment, the pre-existing circumstances for people coming into these roles are not what they could be. They don't enable them to build on their past and move forward to be kind of ambidextrous teaching professionals who build on their industry expertise and combine those things effectively. Many of them are finding it difficult to make a transition into professional roles because of this insecurity around them, and I think that's a major task for the sector and for individuals as well in England at the moment.